everyone! So it is the end of Spookathon, so we are here today to share with you all of the books that we read during the week. I had an excellent reading week. How did you guys do?
So-so.
Yeah.
Our stacks are shorter than yours, let's say that.
Our stacks are shorter together than yours.
That's true.
But hey, we read books. So.
We read books, and that's how you win.
Yeah, we got through, I got through like several of the challenges, so I'm
perfect.
proud of myself.
Perfect. Should we just like go through the challenges one by one then? Okay, so the first challenge was to read a thriller. What did you read, Crystal?
So I'm not yet finished, but I am currently reading This Body's Not Big Enough for Both of Us. Despite the fact that it's not finished, because I had a quite busy second half of the week, I cannot put this book down. We went for lunch with some friends before a film screening yesterday, and I read in the pub at the table. I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm being rude. I'm busy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I read like 60 pages just sitting there.
That's awesome.
I can't put it down. I can't wait to finish. It's like a classic film noir meets science fiction meets like something that I feel Jasper Fforde would write. It's really funny. It's loaded with pop culture references. It's each brother / sister within this body has their own really distinct personality. It's just so good. And I want to read, but now my work is piled up a bit. But I hope to finish it like today or tomorrow.
Nice.
That's great.
Cool. That sounds fun. How about you, Sally?
So I read the thriller that you lent me, which is I See You by Clare Mackintosh. This is the first book I read, and I burned through it. It admittedly has a bit of a slow start. Like there's a lot of just kind of setting the scene and everything. And then basically like smack halfway through the book, it's like shoom, and it really takes off. And I was very much on the edge of my seat the whole time. It's really creepy. But it also, so the Clare Mackintosh was actually a police officer for 9 years. Oh, so it's very much like a police procedural, or at least one of the characters is a cop. And it's all very well, like it's all very believable the way it's written. It also focuses a lot on like women not being believed and like listening to women and like
I actually read this too. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I read it this week too.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
And like the way when I was reading it, I was like, this feels like too real.
Yes.
Like it's
absolutely.
It's kind of about women being stalked, basically.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is how women actually feel every day.
And they're being stalked specifically through their public transit routes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It is like, it was eerily too real.
Yeah, it's like this could...
Very well written. I highly recommend it. I really, really enjoyed this book. But it was like that kind of creeping tingle up the back of your neck. Like, this could be me. This could be anybody.
And even like, I found it was interesting. So the premise is there's this... the woman at the beginning of the book finds like a classified ad with a picture in it that it looks like it's her in the picture. And it leads to this mysterious website. And then
which is findtheone.com.
Yeah, and every day a different woman's picture is in that ad and women start getting killed.
Yes.
And it's...
And it's dual perspective between the woman who finds her photo in the newspaper and the cop, who's also a woman. But it takes a long time for the police to listen to her, basically, until she finds this one cop. She really gets kind of like, oh, you're imagining things, like, oh, we're not really actually, it's kind of a fuzzy
and
picture.
everybody,
we're
even
not
the
sure.
good characters.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's...
It sounds really good.
It's really
I kind
good.
of want to steal it from you guys.
Yeah, it's... Yeah,
thanks.
you can wear it for sure, but it's definitely...
Sounds like up my alley.
And I'm sorry, but that ending...
We can't say anything.
You can't say anything, but like the last like 2 pages, I was like, what is that?
Yeah, we can talk about more. But anyway,
it was an excellent thriller.
Yeah, it was really great.
Sounds like
it's
the kind of feelings I like having. I mean, despite women being stalked and feeling terrible.
But in a weird way, like just because there is so much of just like an overall focus of the idea of women not being listened to, is that like being able to read it and be like, oh, like, this is a thing that we aren't listened to, and it's so great that it, great.
Yeah, but it's like,
that it's like being represented
discussed.
really well. Yeah, exactly. So
I like edge of the seat stuff.
yeah,
highly
recommend.
It has a bit of a slow start, but once it kicks off, and like I was like annoyed on the character's behalf the entire time. I was like, fucking her picture in the paper.
Yeah.
Anyway, read the book. It's great.
So
There
what
you
was
go.
your thriller?
I read another. Oh, actually, I read 2 other thrillers. I read Sharp Objects, and I didn't like this one as much as I liked I See You.
Okay.
But this book messed up.
Yeah.
It's messed up. The characters they're all just
So
damaged. And even like the protagonist, they're messed up.
Yeah.
This is a very, very adult book.
Yeah.
I will throw that out there. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I think I liked Gone Girl better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But it was, I understand why people like this book, but it was like, it's messed up. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. And then I finally did it. It took me years.
Oh, yay.
I read The Women in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. And again, another thriller where I was like, I liked it. And this is about a woman who is on like a small cruise ship as like a promotional thing. She's a journalist. And she sees this woman in Cabin 10, and there is no woman in Cabin 10. So like, it's like there's nobody on the manifest that says there was ever a woman in Cabin 10, and she thinks she sees somebody get murdered, but there was nobody there.
It sounds very like Hitchcockian.
Yeah. So it was, and I flew through it. But I think I read In a Dark, Dark Wood by the same author last Spookathon, and I think I liked that one better.
Okay.
But this one, it was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. And that was my other thriller.
Excellent.
Okay, moving on. The challenge number 2 was to read a book with purple on the cover.
Right. So, as I said last time, I attempted to find this copy of The Witch's Purple, but I failed. But still read it.
Yay.
Yay.
I read the 30th anniversary copy, so I did end up reading a lot of the few extra bits that were in here as well. But I liked it more after I'd finished it than during actual reading it. I found the first like 4 or 5 chapters just a bit of a snore.
Right.
But I mean, I could have just been reading it at the wrong time, but I feel once him and his grandmother go on vacation to like the south of England and they're staying in this hotel and he discovers witches are there, and then it just feels like kind of a caper. He's trying to get something from them to destroy them from the inside, and it's just it got really exciting and it was very funny, and I like that. I liked the character of his grandmother, and I just liked the whole like how they conspired with each other to be like, okay, so this is how we're gonna bring down the witches, and it was just very funny, and I did enjoy it in the end. I just thought the beginning was a bit there's too much explanation. Like, this is how you spot a witch.
Which I remember loving as a kid. I think that part probably appeals more to kids because it is very much like, okay, I'm taking notes here.
Yeah,
like,
so as they're walking down the street as an 8-year-old, they're like, she's wearing gloves.
Yeah.
She could be a witch. But yeah, like I said, the more I thought about it, and my boyfriend, he said this movie like terrified him as a child. So like I watched the trailer for the movie after, and it looks like the movie's pretty faithful. So I'm looking forward to watching that spookiness maybe around Halloween.
Left a comment saying the ending is different in the movie.
Oh, interesting.
I haven't read it or seen it, so I don't know. But
well, I will be sure to check it out. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and again, I think the only Roald Dahl book I've ever actually read myself that wasn't like read to me as a child, but
there you go.
It was an experience.
Nice.
Neat.
Sally?
I'm also not quite finished my purple cover, but I am absolutely loving it, and that is Small Spaces by Katherine Arden. I was telling Crystal this morning, I was reading this before bed last night, and I got to a page where I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to pick this up in the morning. This is legitimately too scary for me to read right before bed. It's really scary, but like
In a good way.
In a good way. But in your it deals with a lot of like scarecrows and sort of haunting things, and it's just like she has written it incredibly well, and I really like the characters, but yeah, there's a few things in there where I was just like, as I was reading it. It's a very fast read. I have about a quarter of it left to go, and I think I can finish it within the next hour once we're done here.
Nice.
But yeah, I have a feeling that this is going to make it into my favorite books of the year list.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely check this one out.
And that one just came out, right?
It just came out, and it's for 8 to 12. But I would say if you're just looking for like a very fun, fast-paced, like terrifying, but not in a like gory at all kind of way, definitely check this one out.
Cool. I read 2 purple books. Surprise. One of them is not spooky at all, but I read it during the week, so it's counting in my wrap-up. But I also read the group book, which was Toil and Trouble. I struggle with anthologies sometimes, like, 'cause they're all written by different authors, so you're not gonna like all the stories.
Yeah.
I really liked a couple of the stories, like the one by Brandy Colbert I think is my favorite. But then there was most of them I was like, it was alright.
Okay.
Like, I'd probably give this 3 stars as a kind of like down the middle. There was some stories that were really strong and some that I just didn't care for. So, but I did read the entire thing.
Nice.
And it's purple.
Good job.
It's very purple.
And I also read, because this week is like a stressful reading week because all of the books we're reading are like spooky and thrillers, and I'm like, oh god, I just need something like nice. So I also read The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, and I loved it.
Great.
Monty and Percy are my fave. This book is about Felicity, but they're in it. And Felicity is great too, but anyways, not spooky at all, but very purple.
Yes,
Very purple.
That's fine. It's
very
such a nice
purple.
purple color.
Is that... Oh, it is a sequel.
Yeah, it's a sequel
Okay.
to The Gentleman's
I wasn't
Guide
sure
to
if it was
Vice
like
and
a
Virtue.
companion or a sequel. Cool.
It's a sequel, but it follows, instead of Monty and Percy, it follows Felicity, who is Monty's sister.
Okay.
Read a book not set during the current time period.
All right. So my third book that I read this week was Gwendy's Button Box, and this is set between like 1974 to like 1980 to 82. I went into this with a completely false idea of what this title was even about. When I hear Gwendy's Button Box, I think this quaint little wooden box that has buttons in it. And it kind of took like a science fiction supernaturally twist. So the box was like this wooden box that had 8 buttons on it. It had a red button, 3 pairs of buttons, and then a black button. And each of the colored buttons in the middle represented a continent. The red button was anything, and the black button was everything. So it's like she feels really compelled to push these buttons. So one day, like, she meets this random guy on top of this cliff, and he's like, hey, I've been watching you, and I think you're the one to have this box. And I'm just like, this is just creepy. Who is this dude? Where did he come from? So one night she looks up different countries of the world, and she finds somewhere, like, if something happens, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing if it's super remote and the population is small. And then she thinks of this place in South America, and she presses the red button. And the next day on the news, lo and behold, something terrible happened. So she uses this like magic box, which also has levers, and if you pull a lever you get a chocolate, which is like rich and delicious and filling. But it's almost like the box has these powers. Her life gets better. She does better in school. Her parents stop fighting. They stop drinking, and her just level goes up. But when she stops like caring for the box the way that she should, things kind of plateau out again, and it's really bizarre.
Bizarre, yeah.
I've read a few of Stephen King's novellas before, and I've really liked them, but I feel this one, I always compare novellas to short films. You get enough of a story, but you're always left with some questions.
Yeah.
And this one I felt wasn't as rounded out as it could have been.
Right.
Like, there's more things I would have liked to know. But it was an interesting little journey about her time with this
It
mysterious
does sound
box.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Bizarre.
creepy.
It's, yeah, and it's her teenage years, so she's like 12 to 18, maybe, throughout the course of things. I thought it would be all about a 12-year-old, but every a few chapters it skips to like, so her sophomore year, so her junior year, and then it goes through like
Interesting.
when she goes off to college and stuff. But it was definitely interesting. Definitely had a weird, creepy vibe to it, so it was worth reading.
Huh, cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Sally?
I did not get to the one I had planned to read that was set in a different time period. The one that I had intended to read was the first Lockwood & Co. book, which I believe was called The Screaming Staircase. And I do still really want to read it. So
Nice.
once I've caught up on some other work reading, I will
Sounded
get that
pretty
one back
cool.
in. Yeah, it sounds great. I've heard awesome things about it, but didn't get it to.
So I got two for this. So I read Lady's Guide, set in the 1700s, and I read 14 of the Grimm's fairy tales. Just like random ones throughout this collection, and definitely set during a different time period. And I will say, I hadn't read Grimm's fairy tales before, and you always hear, when you hear about Grimm's, that like they're so gruesome, and like, not really.
No?
I mean, a little bit, but like, not as much as I was expecting.
How did you choose the 14?
I just, like, I picked ones that I kind of had heard of, so I have, like, Briar Rose, The Goose Girl, Frog Prince, Tom Thumb, Rumpelstiltskin, Rapunzel, so I just kind of went through and picked
Nice.
some.
Yeah.
There's tons of stories in here. I do want to keep reading them, though, because they, like, it was really fun, especially these ones that I knew, because, like, you know the story.
Yeah.
And they're very, very short, like, a few pages each,
Right.
so...
You know the Disney version, so it's interesting
Yeah.
to read
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
the, like
Trace it back.
an alternate version.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, cool. That's it. And then read a book with a spooky word in the title.
Again, mine was The Witches.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with this one because it doesn't. Yeah, I'll go with this one. Spell. I'll talk about this one more in a minute.
And mine was Toil and Trouble.
Oh, cool. Nice. Perfect.
And then the last challenge was to read a book with pictures.
So both The Witches, illustrated by Quentin Blake, and Gwendy's Button Box was illustrated as well, so it was pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, I feel bad it took me so long to read two very short illustrated books, but
It happens.
I did it.
Busy week.
Yeah.
Mine was Spell on Wheels, which again Corey lent to me, and it was so much fun.
I love
this
that
is
graphic
a graphic novel by Kate Leth, Megan Levins, and Marissa Louise, and it's about three badass witches in their like early 20s probably, and they are robbed in the first little bit, and then they go on a road trip to like track down all their missing belongings. And it was so much fun. And there's like tarot cards sort of interspersed between that tell you what phase of the moon they're like entering into.
Oh, cool.
And each one is a different artist, and it was just really cool. You said that you're not sure that there's going to be more in this
Pretty
series.
sure there isn't. Yeah.
I would love to read more
I know,
about
it
that.
definitely ends in a way where there could totally
Yeah.
be more. And I'm pretty sure, as of now, they're not
Okay.
doing more.
Rats.
I right?
Yeah.
Because I read it pretty recently too, and it was
It's
just
so fun.
good. It's
I read
so
it
fun.
so fast.
I love the art style.
Same.
Looks pretty cool.
And the
Yeah.
three witches are just like they're just so fun. I want to
They're,
be
like,
friends with all of
sassy
them.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, highly recommend.
And I kind of failed this one
What?
because mine was Deathnote.
Oh yeah.
And guys, I'm having a hard time with Deathnote. I'm finished. I'm counting it as a win because I finished volume 11.
Okay, that counts.
But I was going to read volume 11 and 12.
Right.
But I finished volume 11. But I'm kind of bored.
Oh no.
Like, I think because I read the first 10 volumes, like, super, like, back to back. And I remember being like, wow, this is, like, really detailed. And, like,
Yeah.
there's tons of dialogue, which is kind of unusual for a manga. Like, it's
Yeah.
very dialogue heavy. And, like, people, like, thinking, like, very in their own minds. And they're trying to solve this crime. And so I think because I read the first 10, like, so quickly, at least I was, like, kind of still in the world. Where now it's been a while, and I'm like, I just don't really care anymore, but I want to know how it ends.
Yeah.
So I'm reading volume 12 right now.
Is 12 the final?
12's the final one. Okay. So I have like 100 pages left or something. But it's just like, guys, stop talking. Like, it's just so much dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was like, manga is usually really quick to read.
Yeah.
Like, it's a comic, so it's like you flip through it very fast. Yeah, not this one. so I'm curious. I need to know how it ends.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just don't care anymore.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. And apparently I read one more book that I haven't talked about.
Which one?
Or 2.
Ooh, what's that?
I've talked about that one. Oh, 2 more. Oh my gosh, I read so many books.
What else is new, Corey?
This one was on my TBR and I don't remember what it was for.
I think just because you wanted to read another spooky
I
book.
thought that. Oh, for some reason I always think that is a graphic novel, but
There is manga of it. That's by the same, adapted by the author.
gotcha.
But I read Battle Royale. Yes. And it was excellent.
Right.
Like, it probably the favorite book I read this week.
Oh, wow.
It's super brutal. It is like, you're like, I'm sorry, but it is the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And I know this one did come first. Like,
It totally did.
like there are differences, obviously, but I'm like, how did
Highly inspired.
Like, I understand that 2 different people can have a similar idea, but I was like, this is like suspect. But anyways, I love the Hunger Games too, don't get me wrong, but I was like, this is like just the Hunger Games but slightly more violent. So
But I loved those characters. Like, I really got more attached to them than I did about, like, Katniss and Peeta. Which I still
didn't,
cared
but-
about, but I just got so absorbed in that I just really...
And this one is interesting in because there, how many students are 32, I believe, at the beginning? Oh, 42.
Yeah, I love the
And-
count, the body count.
Yeah, at the end of each chapter they tell you how many students are left, which is great. But and it follows like different students throughout. There's a few that you kind of follow for a while. And then you're like, oh yeah, you're following, and then they're just dead. Just like dead. Just like, oh, okay. It's like- and then they're dead. Got it. But it is like quite violent, as you would suspect. But yeah, I loved it. I'm really curious to see the movie now.
I'd be up for a screening of the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet either.
I'm really curious. And I'm wondering, like, because I know the movie's violent as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder if I could handle it. Because this is like they have to, like, figure out how to pull an axe out of somebody's skull because it's really lodged in there. And, like, it's like, there's just, like, vivid descriptions of, some, like, pulling somebody's eye out. And, like, yeah.
I could be mistaken, but I think the movie's in black and white as well. So it have an extra,
Oh.
like, extra creepy feel to
Yeah.
it. I
Is the
think
movie Japanese?
it's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've
I would
seen
watch.
the trailer or something, but yeah, we should have a staff screening.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, it was excellent. And the other one I read, which was also terrifying in a completely different way, was Dry by Neal Shusterman.
Ooh.
And this is set in like the near future, near future, and it's when the water taps get shut off because they run out of water in Southern California, and they and like this book happens within like days, and people just within days, like society just like completely crumbles because they
Yeah.
have no water, and it's oh, this is too real,
Yeah.
too real, guys. Like,
Yeah,
and
it
there's
sounds
like even
something that could happen.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, and even like there's the big forest fires, and like there's just in like
Which are just like a fact of
and
life already.
and it's
Yeah.
like it's just it was a little bit like oh that could happen. So yeah, it felt this and I See You were ones that like kind of hit close to home a little bit. Where
Yeah.
like that's a scary thing that could happen. So
Change up my transit route a little bit more on the way home.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh god. So yeah, that was our
books.
Spookathon.
Yeah. It's
Loved
quite a
Spookathon.
successful spookathon.
Yeah, I agree. Had a lot of fun reading these books. A little bit stressful, some of them.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys seem to have some like serious. I went from like pretty cool to oh my god, exciting but not exactly scary.
Right.
But I do want to know who this mystery murderer is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, it was a good reading. And we will be back next year for sure.
Oh yeah,
Totally.
definitely. We would love to know which challenges you guys took on and what were some of your favorite or least favorite reads of the week were. Leave those in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more videos every week. Happy reading and thanks for being awesome. Bye.
Bye.